Ladies and gentlemen, it's Total Nonstop Impact TNI!
Look at it, Joe.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Total Nonstop Impact Talk for Impact fans, right here on the YouTube, the Twitch, and wherever you get your podcast worldwide. I'm joined by Alicia tonight. Alicia, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Better late than never. Review of last Thursday's Impact Wrestling on AXS TV and the TNA Plus app. Want to welcome everyone catching us on this rare Tuesday episode of TNI. But ever since kind of last Thursday, where obviously I was traveling at the Heels Have Eyes 4 show down in Atlanta, and then just with the next couple days with Final Resolution and TNA shows, wasn't able to do it or hook up with anybody else to get a showdown. We almost were able to squeeze one in over the weekend, but weren't able to pull it off. So we're here now. I want to get it tonight, obviously, before the UK boys go on tomorrow and before the big Thursday show when we're back on track this Thursday. So the plan for tonight is a 2-4. So we're actually going to be reviewing last Thursday's episode first. So right now, so if you're chronologically listening by maybe the audio portion, you can just listen in normal fashion, and then we'll follow that up for the Final Resolution. So you can binge TNI tonight in real time, not just post-date. We know there's a lot of news going on in TNA, and we will be getting to a lot of that. But obviously, since we're starting with the Thursday show, we're going to go over that first, where a lot of this news had not broken yet. That's more during and then after the premium live event. So we'll get much more into that as we get into the show. And the plan is to pretty much end this one and go right into the next one. So it will be a minimal break, if much of any. So, no, but thanks again for everyone for joining us. I know I did see a couple of our good friends, Mayor, always waiting for us. I saw our good buddy Punk, Critical Sting, Justin Miller. So yeah, a lot of things going on. But we won't waste time. J-Bone is a little under the weather tonight, and I know he's been working. He's been the working hard man. So hopefully you see him soon, and I'm sure probably by Thursday. But this is my first time with the new format we're using here. So it's going to be pretty basic. I didn't want to get too crazy with anything. So not going to be a lot of no sound bites, videos, all that stuff. Just the audio stylings of Alicia and myself. So we'll get right into it here. Last Thursday's episode of Impact, the December 12th edition. And we start out with a little bit of hold on, let me get the right notes I have for this one before I get too crazy. We start out with the one and only Moose, our X-Division champion, cutting a promo in the ring, where he talks about becoming the greatest X-Division champion ever, interrupted by Cody Deaner. And he talks about the fans, that he got his love of wrestling back, and he could win the X-Division title, which leads to a match for the X-Division title, Moose versus Cody Deaner. Alicia, what are you thinking about X-Division champion Moose here? We know it was not it was a quick match, an impromptu quick match here.
Yeah, unfortunately, we could see the future for Mr. Cody Deaner, and it wasn't very good.
It was for the people, though.
What's that?
It was for the people.
Oh, yeah, well,
Cody
that
Deaner
doesn't work. Doesn't work. Clearly, in his case.
The people leave poor Cody Deaner in the bad situations.
Yeah, well, he needs the fans, that's for sure. Yeah, so Moose made quick work of him, but I really like this Moose in the X-Division run as the X-Division champion. So, it's still golden.
It is, and I know we'll get it more. I know there's a lot of people like it, the whole Moose X-Division champion. I'm a huge fan of it, but obviously I'm a big Moose supporter. But
Yeah.
I do think you got to mix it up. You can't have just your traditional X-Division cruiserweight, middleweight, light heavyweights. Sometimes you got to have people that change it because it is the no limits division. If you never go with somebody that's a little outside of the norm in that division, then you're really not at no limits. But so no, I was a fan of this, and we hadn't seen Cody Deaner in a while, so it was good to see him back on TV because I know people were kind of like, "Where's Cody Deaner? Where's Cody Deaner?" So a good spot for him there. So obviously Moose with the win there. But once again, did not last long. We go backstage with Xia Miller interviewing Tasha Steelz in First Class with obviously AJ Francis, Casey Navarro. And they're talking about, obviously, in the main event tonight that they're going to win. And then giving a taste of what could be happening at Final Resolution. So definitely, Alicia, what are your thoughts on the First Class? Like, are you a fan of First Class? Obviously, they're heels, but do you like what AJ and Casey are doing?
I don't know.
Are they money? No.
So I guess not.
Money.
So is Tasha Steelz part of First Class now?
It's a good question. It doesn't, just like she was kind of hanging out with the system, she's kind of hanging out with First Class. Not a member, but an associate.
And her
she's
and Lish
affiliated.
Are still the tag champs?
Well, no. Well, right now the tag champs obviously are
Jody
Dani
and
Luna, Spitfire, and Jody.
I don't know why I thought they won it back.
Well, it was Militia were the tag champs, but then like that's kind of the team right now, although they don't tag a lot,
right?
Like because Lish is kind of hanging out with Tasha. Like it feels like they could get a shot at they could be Knockouts tag champs at some point.
They'd be a good team. I mean,
I'm all in favor of Lish with gold again. I think the Lish gold era underrated.
Maybe digital media champ. I think that'd be pretty.
You know what? And we'll get into that. But like, when's the last? What was it? Slammiversary, the last time that PCO defended the title.
You know, you got me.
I have a feeling there hasn't been a defense in quite some time of the old digital media title. So I think they're gonna have to address that.
I would correct it.
Yeah, you gotta defend it in so many days, or you got to go another way.
Like that would be. I'm just saying. A little bit of fantasy booking here. She has the system help her get the belt off of PCO, and then thus creating a feud with PCO versus the system. Oh shit! Well, he's with Sami too, so I guess we could throw him in there. So,
and that's kind of the thing, yeah, because right now they're doing the stuff with Sami, and that's kind of obviously what's now taking him out of the digital media stuff, but he still has the belt. So that's something that probably does need to be cleaned up at some point. Yeah, I said it was BFG. You're right, Critical Sting. I said Slammiversary. I meant BFG. I mix these premium live events too much. But okay. All right. So that's where that is. We get backstage again, obviously, with Mike Santana. But he's interrupted by Josh and the Northern Armory. And pretty much, we're getting this Alexander Santana. And they're talking about, once again, all the build for Final Resolution. So obviously this was the go home show. And this, the build with this match, obviously very good. Was looking forward to this one. So once again, stay tuned as we go through the night here, as we get into the review there. We'll go over the matches as they happened. So, but yeah, so once again, we're seeing that Mike Santana push. What are you thinking about the Mike Santana push, Alicia? Like,
I'm
feels
alright
like
with it. I think we're
future,
all
like definitely main eventer.
So I'm pretty positive towards it.
All right. Then we get some knockouts action here. We get Rosemary against Xia Brookside. Thoughts on this one here?
Not really sure. Whereas I love Rosemary, and Xia is pretty cool. This match, well, obviously we know later, and we'll talk about it much later. I felt like this was a lead up to something, as opposed to just like, oh, it's just a match. You know what I mean? It was a little bit of a lead up.
Yeah.
For Rosemary to get her licks on Jordan.
And that's obviously what we see here. Like Rosemary gets the win here, but then there is the aftermath with Jordan as she continues to go after Xia in ring there. So yeah, no, there's definitely that build up, and well, we know it was announced later, not obviously during this match, but that Xia is injured. Because remember, the whole way they did this, there was like half the TV tapings were shown from North Carolina. Then they did the show at WrestleCade. But then these matches, and I believe it was Xia that was injured at WrestleCade. So even though she wrestled this match, that happened before that show because she was obviously knocked out of Final Resolution and the tapings due to injury. So
right.
Hopefully Xia is on the mend and can get back quickly.
I really want them to do something with Xia.
I think they will.
I hope so, because she's got so much potential, and I feel like creatively there is something that they could give her to help her evolve a little more. It's like Jordan, you know what I mean? It's like her.
Well, she had that good feud, obviously, with Ash by Elegance to kind of like get her over. Now it's like kind of what's her next thing gonna be?
Yeah, she's just like kind of floating along. Yeah. So I'd like to see them really start building her up. She's got, like I said, she's got a lot of potential.
Yep, I agree. I see a bright future. Then we go Xia Miller. Xia Miller's telling Trent Seven that he's going to be facing Ace Austin at Final Resolution. Trent not happy about this. But then Ace, he goes after him for what he did to Mike Bailey. Obviously, he took Bailey out, and doesn't seem like we're going to be Mike Bailey yet. And he says that he's going to teach him how the alphabet goes. 1, 2, sweet. So, back in ring.
Poetry.
Tag team action. That was poetry. We got the Rascalz against, as you would say, a platypus team of Leon Slater and Laredo Kid. Kind of like all X-Division guys, but obviously the Rascalz, a long together tag team. So they obviously had the edge here.
I'm going to surprise you, baby, and say that maybe I would like to see Leon Slater and Laredo Kid as a team.
Ooh, they did seem to work well together. Like they didn't look out of place tagging together. I wouldn't mind that.
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't be
very athletic, high flyers. I would take it.
It would be something different, you know.
And I think that those are two guys that you need to figure out what you're going to do with them too going forward as we get into 2025.
Yes,
I think obviously, like Leon Slater, very young, a lot like Xia Brookside, but a ton of potential. Like you can see it. So you want to utilize it and not just have him just random. Like he had that X-Division title match with Bailey, and it was like, wow, like that was a fantastic match. Like
run
that back. So hopefully we get to see something like that again. And obviously, same thing with Laredo. Like, that's someone that we've seen now here for a while, but hopefully, like, he gets more of a break. And I know we still talk about, like, the AAA partnership. Is it there? Is it not there? To what level? But it would be nice to see, because I think they do need to have more. Like, it'd be nice to even have maybe another luchador or two on the roster. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But they got to utilize Laredo first before even bringing anyone else in. So
that's what I'm saying. Be interesting to pair him up and start a tag team. It's always a good place to really get going and then see where you can go from there. But there's potential there. I'd like to see it happen.
Yeah, for sure. We get the system backstage where they're calling out all their opponents at Final Resolution, and that they're going to make TNA once again trust the system. So, do you trust the system, Alicia?
Sometimes.
Sometimes you trust.
Sometimes.
You trust Lish. You trust Lish.
I trust Lish and I trust Moose. Everybody else is
Lish and Moose
skating on thin ice, I think.
There you go. That's much like myself. Lish and Moose can do no wrong. Do you want to know something? All right. Now we get, as we talked about earlier, the tag team of PCO and Sami Callihan going against Jake Something and Hammerstone, or as I like to call them, Hammer Something. Well, what did you think of this one? Obviously, we got a we did not get a clean finish.
Men slapping meat.
They were. They got a lot of big dudes in there. But you winds up with a win for PCO and Sami, but via disqualification.
Yeah. Well, can't always have a perfect win, but a win's a win nonetheless.
A win's a win. You take the win. But also, other than the disqualification, this ends with the vignette of the number 23. What are your thoughts on this number 23 business?
I have none.
You have no thoughts on that? I don't think I really do either. I'm not sure who it is.
It's vague.
Like, I'm hearing a lot of people speculate, reckless speculation, but I don't even connect like the dots that people are trying to connect on this.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like, me, dates and numbers aren't my forte in wrestling. And you're going to do this shit to me and expect me to like speculate on who 23, what 20, who, what, where, when, why. I don't know. I don't know who done it.
23-time world champion?
Watch. They'll reveal who it is. And I'm going to be like, oh, this fucking guy.
Of course it was 23.
Like, of course.
Well, there you go. Like, Mayor, this is probably the best angle, but it tells you nothing on who it is. It means it's going to be the January 23rd live Impact. That's when they'll debut.
So what they're promoting is an Impact taping or Impact Live?
They'll probably show up at the live show.
Oh.
So the 23 number just meant that's when I'll show up.
I mean,
that's sort of like Y2K. Like Jericho, like I'm showing up, like just a date. Then I'll show
guy. Hey. Yeah, I don't know, bud.
So we'll see. Yeah, because I think that's as likely a scenario as anything else. They just show up that day, because like a few other angles in TNA right now, it's one of the ones that we'll talk about through Final Resolution too. We didn't get an answer. Spoiler alert: we didn't get an answer. So it is going to obviously go into next year, likely Genesis or that live Impact.
For sure.
We get singles action featuring a pair of knockouts that have been in tag teams a lot recently. And I did see some back and forth talking about some of these individuals because it was Dani Luna versus Heather Reckless. Not Heather Reckless. Heather by Elegance.
Reckless by Elegance.
With the personal concierge and Ash Elegance, and then obviously Jody in the other corner. But yeah, knockouts match here. We've been seeing kind of them in singles action going up against each other. Ash getting a couple big wins against them. But this was Dani Luna's night here against Heather by Elegance.
Yes, enjoy it while it lasts, because I feel like come Final Resolution, maybe, I don't know.
And
we'll talk about it.
And new. We hope to see it. We hope to see it, but
we'll know in like what, an hour or like 25 minutes. Speed run.
This may be the biggest speed run in history. Just because, like I said, because of what it is, the news doesn't make a lot of sense in this episode, so we'll get into it in the next episode. But yeah, because I'm going to shock you right now. We're at the main event. It's the 6-person tag team main event that we saw promoted right at the beginning of the show. It's Nick Nemeth, world champ, Masha Slamovich, the Knockouts world champ, Joe Hendry, and you know everyone believes in Joe Hendry, against First Class, AJ Francis and Casey Navarro, and Tasha Steelz, who will be challenging, obviously, at Final Resolution for the Knockouts title. What would you think of this main event?
It was interesting. Oh, wow. This is a bad time to start stalling on what I think about something, huh? It was good. It just wasn't my preferred flavor. I feel like this has been kind of happening a lot, that we're getting these little hodgepodge ending matches, you know, the platypus teams.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas Tasha makes sense with First Class, Joe Hendry, Masha Slamovich, and Nick Nemeth doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, it's just you're talking the champions and someone on a challenger on the upper card. That's
right. And I apologize in advance. I'm just saying is that what's happening in that whole thing, I haven't been really into. So like I'm just more like the ho-hum version of an opinion on that it's just kind of like I'm not the targeted demographic for that storyline, is all I'm saying.
Okay. There's a lot of storylines going on there, though. There's
and I like other ones more than others, and I like pretending that I can. I'm gonna create
it's
storylines that never happen.
Two major titles. It's the Knockouts and the men's world title.
Which makes sense why they would platypus the whole thing, but at the same time, I'm just kind of Get more rubber ducky.
So, but the champs, the team with the champs win. Sometimes you might have a challenger kind of like win that match to then be like, ooh, could they win the title at the upcoming show? But they did not win the match. However, after the match, they continue to brawl, and that's where like AJ looks strong. And then Tasha hits gets Slamovich, but pretty much AJ's like he's looking the part. He's holding that world title to close the show. And I know after this show, and I obviously, like I said, I was at that Heels Have Eyes show on Thursday, which featured a lot of the TNA roster.
Right.
And it was kind of like just set up already in center stage before the tapings and Final Resolution. And I even ran into the AJ after the show, and I'm like, gonna get that strap tomorrow? He's like, if they know what's best for them, they are. And you know what? And I'll tell you, I was talking to people before the show. After that, there was a growing contingent last Thursday night in the Friday day that really thought maybe AJ takes the belt here, because you have the built-in storyline with Joe Hendry. If you think Joe Hendry was going to become number one contender, like who made Joe Hendry in this run in TNA? Like, obviously, his viral videos and all aside, but who made him storyline wise? It was AJ Francis. That feud is what that was the big Joe Hendry feud in TNA this year. So it would only be fitting for him to defeat him. So it made a lot of sense. Now, interesting, because of what we talked about earlier, Critical Sting send up the signal in the air. I asked AJ in an AMA who would hypothetically be the first female member of First Class.
Yeah.
Fitting enough, he said Tasha.
Yeah.
And obviously Tasha and KC, very tight.
Yeah.
So it would make a lot of sense. And hey, Rich Swann return. I would not, especially with the system. Now, once again, it's another heel faction, but I would not mind a First Class stable as opposed to just a tag team. And you see, and they'll it's almost like they're the cool stuff. Like, they don't necessarily even have to be heels. Like, if you cheer AJ, he'll take it. Like, he ain't going to be like, don't cheer me, I'm a heel.
Yeah, right,
like,
right. Which I always thought was weird.
You should cheer me. I'm cool.
Like, what's so bad about being cheered when you're a heel? Like, that just means that people think that you're a heel, right? So,
yeah.
I never got that storytelling form of, I'm a heel, don't cheer for me. Pissed on Cheerios. Like, I don't get it.
Good to see Terrence and the rest of the crew in there. But once again, that's pretty much the show as we head into Final Resolution. And you know what? Just because this is what we would normally do on this show anyway, and if you are using this as a lead-in to binge into the episode, let me run over the card for Final Resolution, which will then be starting not long after we end this episode. But let me go over the Final Resolution card. So, oops, there it is. Bringing it up right now. Making sure I have the right one here. Okay, yep, got it. All right. So we had X-Division title match. This is all the matches coming up. X-Division title match, Moose defending against Kushida. World title, Nick Nemeth defending against AJ Francis. Tag title match, the Hardys defending against the System of Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards. Knockouts championship match, Masha Slamovich defending against Tasha Steelz. Number one contender 4-way for the World Championship, Joe Hendry versus Josh Alexander versus Mike Santana versus Steve Macklin. Jordan Grace versus Rosemary. Frankie Kazarian versus Jonathan Gresham. Leon Slater versus JDC. Ace Austin versus Trent Seven. And the Rascalz versus Sami Callihan and PCO versus Jake Something and Hammerstone was the projected card. But as we know, cards are subject to change. So we will go over that as soon as we start the Final Resolution review. And Mayor, with an interesting comment as we're kind of heading out here. 10 matches, counting the countdown, was too many. And that's always an interesting take to see what you think of that, because I know there are a lot of, well, it's kind of different. Some companies are running less matches now on their premium shows. Some are running more and going longer. So it's something to consider. Like, what do you think? Like, what's the sweet spot? Is it a time frame? Is it a number of matches? Let us know. Let us know in the comments. But that pretty much... Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's just curious to think about. That's all. It's nothing really special to add to it.
So, yeah, but that was the December 12th edition of Impact Wrestling on AXS TV and the TNA Plus app. Sorry, it's a few days late, more than a few days late. But we wanted to make sure to get it up here before we obviously went over the final resolution review. And hopefully everyone that has joined us for this live can also join us for the final resolution review, which will be in about 10 minutes. I'm thinking since we have a little bit of a break here, we'll start that immediately at 9 o'clock. So no need to wait around too long. So feel free to hop in the chat room, keep the discussion going, just like here or on the Discord. Don't forget to join the Discord. Don't forget to donate to Chris Bay down in the description. Support Bay. And yeah, definitely don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications for when we're going to go live again in mere moments. Thanks again, Alicia, for joining me today, and continuing as we do our second live show, which will probably, once again, get more in-depth with that and also go over news. So that'll be probably the long show, I imagine, of tonight. So please join us, if you will, and we will see you again momentarily. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you for the review in mere moments.